Welcome into WagerTalk TV. I am Drew Martin, joined by Robbie Vino and Tony Finn of WagerTalk.com. We're talking a big one, kicking us off on Saturday, college football style here. A rivalry, Robbie. We get Michigan State. We're actually seeing Michigan laying -4.5 here, the road favorite, even though Michigan State off of that bye at home. They are the underdog here, 50.5 being the total. Are you liking anything here with the Spartans and Wolverines, Robbie?
Yeah, they've caught some money, Drew. The Michigan Wolverines side has enough to cross some pretty good numbers here. So there's obviously a lot of support for Michigan out there. I could understand why. I mean, to me, this line has gotten too far for me to jump in on the Michigan side, but I do like them here. I just, the Nebraska game and the Wisconsin game, the two games that Michigan played before the bye, really kind of changed my thinking about Michigan. You kind of think, well, if their running game can be stopped, Cade McNamara, there's really a lack of experienced wideouts on this team. Perhaps you can shut Michigan down that way, but it didn't happen against Nebraska. I mean, Cade McNamara, when push came to shove, when play calling had to be balanced out because the run game wasn't there, he goes 22 of 39, 255 yards. The team gains 459 yards against a really stout Nebraska front seven on the defensive side. And then against Wisconsin, a team that plays the run as well as anybody in the nation, McNamara, again, called upon to make some yardage passing to balance out the offense. He goes 18 of 30, 253. The team gains 365 yards against a very, very good Wisconsin team. They win them both. At that point in time, heading into their bye week, you have to change your opinion on Michigan. It's not just a one-dimensional offense, even though the play calling is so lopsided. It's typical Jim Harbaugh stuff, 66% to the run, only 33% to the pass. And when they've had to call upon the passing game, it's been there for them. Again, even though their wide receivers are young, the difference, just to point this out, guys, between wide receiving duos on these two teams, on the Michigan State side, you have Jaden Reed, who's a former high school teammate of their quarterback, Peyton Thorne, and Jalen Naylor. Both of these guys, the statistics, I won't go through them because they're so similar, but they both have 27 catches. Each one of them has more catches this year than the top two on Michigan combined. So while Michigan has explosiveness at the wide receiver, they haven't really used it quite a bit. I think they might be forced to use it here. And Michigan State might be forced to use theirs because Kenneth Walker III, you talk about using the transfer portal. I think maybe Michigan State and SMU benefited from the transfer portal as we see the results come in now, 7 games in, more than any other teams in the nation, because Kenneth Walker III, Heisman Trophy candidate, his 6.6 yards per carry will be tested by the Michigan D here. But State does have balance. It's kind of scary because the two teams that Michigan beat before the break, Nebraska and Wisconsin, they don't have the offensive balance. They don't have the explosiveness in the passing game that Michigan State has. That would keep me off Michigan here. Michigan State's at home, and they have the ability to attack through the air. They protect their quarterback pretty good, but Michigan, with Aiden Hutchinson on the outside, will pass rush. I don't know, Drew. To me, this is just a Swiss flag type of game, neutral, very neutral. I don't know which way to turn here. I think, whether if it's okay, this game might go over the number. 50.5 to me might be a little low in a game where both quarterbacks will be asked to throw the football to gain some yardage. And as I've just, laid out here, they both have the ability to gain it through the air. So maybe a look toward the over if the weather holds up in East Lansing on Saturday afternoon.
Good stuff, Robbie. And Tony, coming to you next. I'm kind of surprised by this move. Over 3 to 4.5 now on Michigan, laying on the road here. Michigan State coming off of that bye. And Robbie touched on it, Tony. This Michigan State team, well coached. They got a good quarterback in Thorne. The running back are going to be toting the rock on Sundays. Good offensive line play. Lot speaking towards the underdog here. I haven't bet it yet, but as this thing ticks up, I'm looking towards Sparty. What are your feelings here, Tony?
Oh, I like what we see here. I mean, first off, this is not, after week 3 or 4 this year, this is not what I expected from Michigan State. I didn't think it would mean what it means this weekend. In truth, the Spartans they're really all they did is went out, right? They went out, and they're most certainly a lock, even with a one loss, to be the Big Ten championship. But there's a couple problems. That is that they got to beat Michigan, and after Michigan, I think it's Purdue, Maryland, at Ohio State. It's not easy. Their path is pretty challenging, in truth, if I'm not mistaken. So they've been good against the number. I think their schedule was a lot softer and more advantageous situationally, timing-wise, than Michigan's. Not that Michigan has been faced anything, crazy good. Washington was a really nice win, but I think that non-con game, that win has not aged that well. I think you guys would agree with that. But I trust Michigan. I never thought Michigan State was going to be where they are. I trust Michigan to be, after last week, if you watch that game and the slow start that the Wolverines had, I think they made some really good adjustments, or at least I think I saw Harbaugh do some things that surprised me, guys. And not only did they win, they covered that 23.5, 24-point spread against Northwestern. And granted, Northwestern, not very good. This is maybe one of the worst defenses that program has had under a good head coach in quite a while. So Michigan State lost one. Listen, they've only lost one game against the number as well. Wish we had more of these kind of games, because this has conference and playoff implications. And both of these teams, I wouldn't have a lot of faith in either one of these teams. We don't have this kind of games anymore because we have Alabama and the SEC, over the years. Now we got Georgia and Alabama, and who gets these last 2 spots it's a big deal. And to be honest with you guys, tell me that this game right here, this Saturday, in this conference, between 2 teams who are everything but dynamic offensively, right? I mean, everything. The best offense in football, college football, is in this conference. And nobody really is talking about them too much right now because of that week 2 loss to Oregon, and that's Ohio State. They are the biggest threat to Georgia or Alabama or anyone else that's part of that January 4. I like Michigan here. And it's I'm contrary to both of you guys. I know you like Sparty, Drew, and I think this total feels a little bit too much for Michigan State. So I think we're all 3 kind of in different corners here. There's 4 corners in this square. The winner's in the 4th corner. Who's going to make it? I like Michigan. I like the under.
All right, like Michigan in the under. Hey, disagreement's fine on these videos, Tony. The only thing I think some of the viewers might not like is you bringing up Ohio State so many times in a Michigan State video. But we'll see. Guys, feel free to comment below in the comments, Wager Talk YouTube. But for Robbie Vino, Tony Finn, I am Drew Martin. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the game, Michigan and Michigan State. Also, remember to check out WagerTalk.com. Guys, we got $9 Monday each and every Monday. All plays from all handicappers discounted to just $9. Check it out, WagerTalk.com.